Welcome back to the channel. I'm about to go ahead and get into work on the JKU. The only real big thing that I want to go ahead and handle, I have a handful of things I need to take care of probably before winter jam. But this one relates back to an older video when I was working on the transmission. The transmission on my JKU had some issues that I was trying to take care of by rebuilding it. The one area that I did not put anything new into was the valve body. And so I've had some slippage as far as it disengaging, and sometimes still not going into drive as quickly or into reverse, and I definitely need that working. So I got a kit from TransGo to go ahead and throw in. It's time to remove the valve body on my JKU, and let's get this thing fixed up. This is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. So I went ahead and took these front two off and loosened up the middle to kind of just let it pour out and get the pressure off of it as far as the amount of fluid, because this thing doesn't have a drain plug. It's time to start taking some of these off. Let's go ahead and take the shift selector one off first. And it's sitting in park right now, so it's all the way into this part is almost flat down, and then it's just sitting in the hole in that. So let's go ahead and start removing these guys. Oh, you know what I didn't take out? It's the electrical. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's your plug. Two. And there we go. It's time to dig into this valve body here. This is a different conductor plate than it originally came with. This was the replacement that I did when I did the rebuild, but I got myself another one. I got a Dorman instead of this one that I got off of Amazon. I got a Dorman off of Amazon, to be honest with you. Work back and forth a little. Ah, there we go. There we go. So the big difference on these ones is going to be this right here. So on your Mercedes, it's a circle, and then on like the Jeeps, it's a U here to allow your dipstick to get in there real easy. These need to come off. I'm just gonna work from the inside out. I think there's a pin in here. Not sure where it's at. Let's open it. Oh, there we go. Right in this hole. That was your pin. I went right down through here into this hole right here. Hopefully none of the balls are sticking to the back of this thing. I have most of the oil removed from the middle of this board, trying to go ahead and get a clear look on where all the check balls and stuff are. This has metal and I believe like plastic-ish ones. So the plastic ones that I have right here, one's right here, 2, 3, and then fourth one is right in here. And then as far as metal balls go, there looks like there to be a check ball right here, right here. So this one and this one, right here, and this one, and then right here. So that's 4 on this side. And then on this side, there's one in here, in here, in here, and in here. I took some white paper, I laid it on top of here, like you would. And then I took a crayon and then just did it like old school little kid style stuff and got an imprintation of all these different spots, and I marked it. So I labeled it 1, 2, 3, and 4, drew the screen, drew the screen, drew the screen. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I just put black circles for the black, whatever they are. But the metal ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and label some sandwich bags with exactly the ones that they are. So that way they go in the exact same place that they came out of. Okay. And it is a screen. So there's a very light screen in here. So this is our last and third one. I don't even know if this is a screen. Hopefully. Okay. This isn't a screen. This, my friends, is a spring. It's got a little hole in like a little Looks like a revolver 6 slot that points down. And then this pad with the number 3 sticks up. All right, we dripped this baby out. So it's time to go ahead and let's swap out. Okay. Now we're into removing these different valves and stuff like that on this lower body here. Slowly lift this up. There's our springs. So this rounded part goes towards the Brainiac, so I'll flip that down. Right there. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 valves on this side. So let's go ahead and keep these good and separate. Four. That seems like that one's spring loaded. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out. The exact order it came out in, and he didn't have any friends with him. So here comes this big baby. Like that. Grab this guy out. Now these springs look broken. I'm honestly was hoping to find something Captain Obvious wrong. That way I could blame it for my problems. Because if it's obvious and there's a problem, then, well, it makes it certainly easier to feel better about putting it back together. So right now, I haven't looked up which ones are for what and what have you, but it's not exactly looking like the easiest situation. So let's see about dumping out that valve. Oh, little spring in the back side of this one. There we go. There we go. That's on the end of that. So there's our 5 there. All empty. Now to move on to the other side. Okay, here's the back side, or this side, I should call the back side, the other side. This plate that was over these ones had a lot of pressure coming off of this spring right here. So this spring puts a lot of pressure on this thing. So let's lay it down, start pulling out stuff. So this one has a spring, this one's got a longer one. This one will have a spring down here at the bottom, great. This one will come out here, here, and this is probably going to be one of the ones that comes out and in. Just so happened that this one's caught just a little bit, this end piece that's right here. So that, and then there's a second portion of it right here. That butts up to that. This one goes right there with that spring in that. Oh, come on. Okay. There's that. There goes that one. With that spring. With that one. Okay, there goes that one. Goes on into this. Now there is one more over here. It looks like it's a push pin that's holding it in that needs to come up and out to release this valve. Push down a little bit. Pop this little pin out, which the little hook, the tooth faces away. Work this thing loose. Okay. Now maybe if I push on it, there we go. It'll help that cap out. Okay. So the whole side is pointed out. There's a flat side that goes facing in the back. Okay, and then there is your valve and then the keyway that holds it. So appears this thing's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, let's go over the TransGo kit. So on this whole thing, this is the lower. There's only 2 parts that I'm going to use of the TransGo. These 3 springs, one of them being a white spring, which is this middle-sized one right in here, would go to this valve, except for the fact that this is the second design, so you don't replace that. You replace this end piece right here, and then, like I said, they have dots on them. This one has no dots at all, so this one will go to replace that. And then they warn you of this one here, that this supposedly breaks quite often. That still feels great, but I'm still gonna replace it. And they have like little colored paint on the TransGo kit on the actual spring. So that red one goes back to where that one goes. And then those are the only changes or adjustments that need to be made on this side. So this red, if you can see it here, will go and replace this, which appears to be the 2-3 shift. I don't know why that is so, like, this one's like way longer. So more pressure. I'm not sure what's up with that, but it says to do it, so here we go. So we'll put that in there and we'll save this one just for later if there's a problem with that. Right? And then the rest of these all just go back in as they were. So let's go ahead and kick that baby in. Kick that baby in. This one with the new spring. This one, no new spring. Oh, look at those, just for the funs of it. It's the same thing. So the spring is completely different. The one that comes in the TransGo kit is a lot smaller. Not sure why they do that. Just gently trying to get these lined up and back in. And I'm not wiping down any of this internal stuff with even these shop rags, just because I don't want any of the lint to get in there. Okay, time to flip this baby up. Start putting these back down and on. And this is the new red that they gave. I'm not sure. I mean, hopefully it works just as good. It's a TransGo kit. It should be good. Shouldn't have to worry about weird stuff like that. So And then all these screws, just so you're aware, are the same size. So you don't need to be as picky as I was. All right, so those are just snugged up in there. Time to move on to the other side. So, throw this baby back in as it came out. Moving freely. This one back in. This one back in. Okay, now is where it gets a little bit less, a little bit more spicy. So let's get this little stubby in. Okay, then there's a spring here. And then I think there's a plunger that comes out of here, yep. So there we go. So here's the original one. And you can see the scoring on it, which is normal, I guess. But we'll go ahead and put this one in here. Put that baby right down the middle of the new one. Get that in there. Get my spring in there. Take this guy, put him back in there. Ooh, that was a little rocket ship of the spring coming out. There we go. See if we can get that in without that happening again. Okay. And this one does not get replaced with the white spring anymore because of this note right here. So this design, it says, do not bother taking it apart. First design, that's when you use the new white spring. Do not use the white spring if you have this, and we have that. So this is the one that's got a really strong spring, which is rad enough. Okay, let's get you back in, and then this last guy. Okay, I'm gonna do this side first, then this side last. This spring is tough, so let's go ahead and stand this baby up. This one doesn't take any effort at all to kind of hold down. And now it's time to slap this baby back in there. This is going to take a little bit more effort to hold it down, but I think it'll do better if once I get that one spring in. All right, the lower plate's been sprayed out. I blew out all these holes with air just to get the oil out, even though it's very low. As far as the torque rating goes, I don't have to worry about all that stuff. And then just to keep lint out of here while I'm going to be working on it, I'm going to go ahead and put some sandwich bags over it that I messed up on, just to keep the lint out, towel, then the plate. So, and now I could work on this one. And go ahead and remove the valves and do the fixing that I need to do and spray these out. Oh, it's like air coming out of that. Oh, what is up with that? Come on. Ugh. Look at that white gunk squirting out of there. Look at that. The head just broke off. You gotta be kidding me. Head broke off on that one too. I'm trying to push down so hard. Oh my goodness. So on this one, the lip is facing away, down away from the bridge here. And this one, the 45 is right here. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, let's get these ones out. Some regular human being put these in. Rotate that down. Okay, so looking at this side, it's 4 springs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one farthest here has got the extra little sleeve cover that I'm going to be replacing. At least the plan is to replace it. Should be able to do that safely without having to destroy the whole valve body, but we'll see. I think sourcing the bolts is the most stressful thing. Okay. So this has got the plunger, the piece that goes down the middle of it, with this spring. Out comes this valve. This one. Out comes this one. That clears out everything for there. Now we got to get this one that's kind of stuck, and then these two are the ones that snapped off. Well, we broke a third one. I had to take these grips to get it on there because it stripped out. And as soon as I kicked it out, this plate went to fly in. So I think some of this extra pressure from these, which there's 3 valves, and this one is the middle one. This one's over here. This big boy, and this is the big boy that gets replaced by this, I believe, if all goes potentially well. This, which will have the inner piece again. It slides in and out of there with that, which is the most outside one. Okay. This guy that goes under there. So now we are left with 1, 2, 3 different bolts that I'm going to have to drill out and try to go and get removed. Before I do the drill out, I should, and I will, I'm going to remove the 2 screens that are in here, one in this hole and one in this hole. The only 2 places they can fit, and they just kind of lightly float on down and out. Exact same size, not really any magic to which side's up or down, but I'll go ahead and put those up over here. So last time you saw me, I was struggling because I snapped off some bolt heads off of these little, finding out that they're actually a M4 metric 4 by 0.7, 12 millimeter long, right, is what I figured. Now, after like a couple seconds, I thought, okay, I can drill and tap them, but I have to be careful. So I drilled, and I didn't mean tap, drilled, and I went to go use one of these lovely bits. It's a extractor. Well, the first one turned into this. I snapped the end off. Scary noise. These are Irwin, so these aren't like Ryobi's or anything. These Irwin ones are actually really good, hard metal, so they're good. Okay, that snapped off. I thought, oof, try a different hole. Well, then this happened. The thing you don't want to have happen is a tip of one of these to break off, because this steel is harder than any drill bit that I own. Well, that put panic in here, and that was stuck in one of them. So two of them I was able to drill out. I drilled to an 1/8 inch, re-tapped them with the tap that I have. That's for the 4 milli. The other one, I spent hours using these bits to go ahead and get the tool part so I can pull it out. Drilled it out with 11/64, tapped it with this 5 mil by 0.8, because 0.8 was the most common size of bit, and we're back in business. All right, so let's dig back into this and get started. Now, this is where the rest of the kit that I have goes in. So this TransGo kit right here, there's the part number stuff. Well, when you get it, you're reading it like this normally. So for me, I'm actually working from here. I'm looking this way. So it would read like this, and obviously it doesn't align. So it kind of confused me about where to go ahead and do this 2 dot, 1 dot. The truth is, with how I have it laid out, is it's like this. This correlates more. So the only one thing I'm going to change on this side would be this valve set right here, and that's going to go with the 2 dot. And let me show you what the 2 dot looks like right there. On the end, there's your 2 dots. That's going to be in there. Now, this side is going to have this replacement valve for this one. You need to measure each one of these to make sure they're tight in tolerance, to make sure you're good, which mine looked great. This whole setup right here is replaced by this new setup. And I think it was forced to give you more surface area, because down in here, there's a lot of free area. So this will now be replacing that and going in there, taking place of this guy right here. So, and then replacing this one valve cover sleeve with this one with the single dot that's on it, which is right there. This one bolt hole right here is the one. So these three, 1, 2, 3, were the ones that got snapped off. This one and this one, I was able to go ahead and drill out to an 1/8 and then use the M4 by 0.7 to tap those back out and clear out the threads. This one, I had to drill up 11/64, tapped it out to a 5 mil by 0.8. I guess the number 16 is the proper one, but you know, I used what I had. All right, on this side, it appears I'm gonna have to drill out that bolt hole a little bit more, because the M5 doesn't fit through there. Just a touch, so I'll take that out and drill that out before I'm done, but let's get this other side in first. And that one's going in the furthest away, just like it came out. Two, going in 2. 3. Okay. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and slide this 4th one in. And while doing that, we'll go ahead and replace this sleeve. Nice. Okay. Now that those 4 are in, we'll go ahead and take this cap back on. Do it by hand for now. All right, I used the 7/32 drill bit to widen that out. Could have been a little bit less. So probably like a 3/16 would have probably been better. Just a touch under where it's at right now. That would have been smarter, but I figured use what I had out, but there you go. So let's start sliding these in. Now this is the replacement for this one. So spring goes back in. Slide this baby in. Feels like it's nice and smooth and tight. Okay, now instead of using this spring and this assembly, we're going with this entire setup right here, which is the new orange spring. There's a plunger that allows fluid in these holes. Now the picture depicts it going straight up and down, so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Is I'm going to try to go ahead and get it as close to straight up and down on the first input that I can. Not that it'll stay that way, but just because I don't know what I'm doing. And then slide the sleeve over the new spring. And it'll meet up there. And then this one, just replacing, actually I put that in the wrong hole, fool. Okay, pull that out. That one goes in the smaller hole in the middle. That makes sense, that fits a lot nicer. Okay, and then on goes on the spring, then the sleeve. There we go, now it's good and tight. Then this one goes in. Okay, and then this little spring and the center plunger slides out. And then right here, the one with the single dot. That's where that goes in. Oh, right here. So this is your through for this parking, right? That goes into there, just so you're aware. Now, I'll be transparent. The ones that I got for the new to replace these have a little bit thicker of a head. So once I pull those in, to find where I put those new ones, they're going to be a little bit thicker, as well as this 6mm. You see how much thicker it is? Now I have an alternative where it's got like just a, let's see if I have it in here. There we go. It's got a button head, which I might go with instead just to keep it low profile, but there's a lot better of a bite here. I don't think that this is going to matter in the transmission because I don't think it's that tight on room. So I'm going to try to use this thicker one. If I need to remove these bolts or sand them down, that's what I'll go ahead and do. But as for right now, I got to find out where I put the other new ones, and then we'll get that plate on this thing. There we go. All right. Let's have a quick look and see the difference in the stick out here. So these ones will get tightened in even more, but you can see it sticks out like 1/16 of an inch more in these, and then obviously that'll be even more. All right, I looked through my manual and I couldn't find anything torque spec wise for these end bolts right here, the little ones. So you can find on this right here where it's talking about these size bolts that go through and actually bolted to that, which I'm saying for me, these are the exact same size bolt, which put them together. It recommends the amount right there. So I'll use that for these, but I had to go online and find a video where somebody had done one of these and took it apart. The one that I found, they did 40 inch-pounds. That's what I'm doing. I did it on this side. I'm about to do on that side, but please look up your own information on anything. This is not a how-to. This is entertainment, and for you to see what maybe you're biting into if you go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and slide this in and kind of let you know that I did finally find it in my manual, and it says it's 35 inch-pounds instead of 40. So if you get this manual and you see that, I went a little bit too high. I'm not too worried about it, but for me, step 20, page 105, 35 inch-pounds instead of the 40. It's just a section in here that somehow I just kind of skipped over. Time to go back in here and lay down all my check balls. Now, the manual that I'm working with said, could be wrong, if I read it right, that all the balls are the exact same size. So the metal ones are the same size as the plastic, or the plastics go where the plastics go, right? So I'm gonna go in here and start dropping these in where I remember them going. Where's 3 at? 3 is right there. I'm gonna go back and look at my etch that I made and make sure I'm right in a few, but. All right, so here's the manual. And see, there's the sizing that it says on them. So we'll double check with that. Right, and that guy. Right in there. Right in here. Right in here. 5. 6. 7. Oop, oop. 6. 7 goes here. There we go. Let's look at these screens. Just making sure there isn't anything Captain Obvious nasty on them, which it doesn't appear that there is. And that screen went right here. Give you a good look at these. Goes right here at the end of this long tube. Kind of wants to just flop around right now. Our check valve, as they're calling it in here, goes right into this baby with the tail. There we go. I gotta let this thing, this connector plate, dry up a little bit because I rinsed it with brake clean outside and it's cold outside. So it's got to heat up and evaporate the condensation from coming inside from the cold. All right, we've given this baby enough time to go ahead and get up to not so freezing temperature. We'll go ahead and loosely set this bad boy on here. Let's take this Le shaft. Let's see if we can get that aligned up. There we go. Get that baby pushed in there. And that should hold it somewhat in place. And I kept them in their exact order, not that it matters because they ended up being all the same size. Okay, I got them all torqued down. Now on these, there's like a deeper set side of the cup. If I put them where they're supposed to be, and I did it right, we're okay. I gotta put the deep, I'm putting the deep side of the cup facing outside of the case. I doubt it works that much, but the only place these will fit is gonna be right in here. And if I can get them in there right. There we go. And I'll let the solenoids do the work at pushing them as deep as they're supposed to go. This I did at 71 inch-pounds, but there is nothing that I saw that was specific for this. The 71 inch-pounds that is in the book is for bolting this to the actual transmission. So now it's time to go ahead and maybe put this back in here. Oh, baby. All right, I did grab a Dorman. The only one that looks a little messed up is this little tooth right here, this little plate. It's got a little bit of a pinch on it, but it's all good. So let's go ahead and click this into place. There we go. Nice. Now to go ahead and put the solenoids back in, but before I do that, I got all the new O-rings to throw on there. So I'm going to put these on there, lube them up, throw them in here, get everything bolted down, and man, this thing's going to be ready to go back in. All right, I got the main part of the valve body in. I still got to go ahead and put the shift selector on there and stuff like that. And then the filter. But then it's just the pan. I got everything torqued down. The thing that I was mostly concerned about, which I can only kind of see, let's see if it'll do it, is a space here at the end to make sure, let's see if I can get some light, to make sure there was enough room between that wall and the bolts. One fun note that I have that I didn't realize before, because this is usually dripping fluid on your face when you're changing it out, but where the check balls go in here, looks like those are our 2 check balls, 2 of our metals. Those are 2 of our metals over here. And then right here will be the other 4 metal check balls that go ahead and sit down as we worked on them. So that's fun. I never realized I sat there. This is all torqued in. I'll go ahead and press. And you got to remember when you're pressing your filter, one of these, I think it might be this one, you got to get the filter pushed through in there. Otherwise it sits down too low. And I got a new plate. So once I get this tightened on, I'll show you the new plate. I got one with a drain plug. It's a Dorman one. And it's not because it's in a perfect spot or what have you. I got it because it's a pain to go ahead and drop this and drip fluid out of here. Now, normally there would be an exhaust right here that would be in the way, but I don't have that problem because I moved everything. So I'm going to install this because I don't know if this is going to actually fix the issues that I was having in the transmission. There's a possibility that I didn't install the torque converter right, and then if the torque converter isn't installed right, well, it would chip off the tubes off the pump and make all kinds of problems. But hoping that it's just this stuff here. So let's go ahead and get the pan on and wrap this baby up. We are back together. I got the electrical plug put in, the cover plate put on. Everything's torqued down. The one thing not to forget, I replaced it with the Dorman one, is this bolt right in here. I believe it's a 7 mil. Get that tightened in there so this can't pull out, and it'll suck it in a little bit and get these 2 sealing rings on here. This was the OEM one. Last time I did it, they're like, oh, these can leak, and the non-OEM ones are not as great. So I bought an OEM one, but it came with a Dorman. I didn't swap it. There you go. It's in. We'll fill it up. We'll see if it drives. Well, I got it started up, heated up, and I went to go ahead and check and make sure everything went in gear. And what I did not want to have happen, happened, which is the fact that let's shift it into reverse. Stuck in park, neutral, it goes to neutral, drive, still in neutral. I take my foot off, a little rev, nothing. So I go back to neutral, stays in neutral, go back to reverse, stays in neutral, go back to park. It's in park. Dude, I am so stoked right now, you guys. You have no idea. So I was super stressed, and I was like, okay, what did I do? I went up and started watching footage and stuff like that up in my office as I was editing. And like, what did I put in the wrong place? I was so careful. But I thought, man, maybe the conductor plate's wrong, or because of the code that I have right there, my torque converter's wrong. But man, I drove it into the garage, so if the torque converter's bad, which is possible, that it might be why it's winding out and stuff like that on the hills. Like it's just, I broke it. But you know what it was? You guys want to know what it was? I drained it all. And I put fluid back in, right? And I'm checking. And I warmed it up. Then I checked it. It looked good. And so I'm like, man, it's not working. I go up and I look and I'm reading. I'm like, okay, it says low fluid. I'm like, no, it's not low. And then it dawned on me. Maybe it is low. You guys, I put like 2.5 quarts in, and it takes at least 5 quarts on a drain and fill. And I'm getting a false reading because of the fluid that the dipstick was rubbing on going down the fill tube, because where I fill it from. And so now we got it. We got park. We got engagement reverse, disengagement neutral, engagement drive. I can even go into manual mode. I wonder if this will catch it. Oh, right, okay. 2, 3, 4, and then an ultimate drive. Crisis averted, guys. It was fill your dang transmission up. It requires enough fluid for hydraulic issues going on there. It's a hydraulic pressure thing. Now, did it fix my problem? I don't know. But you know what? I'll go ahead and make sure I have every bit of fluid that I need in there to go ahead and handle the situation. But we are back.